Obviously, that day for me was the culmination of all the previous, I'll probably say 3 years. People don't know this, and after the game, just run to the dressing room, and I just cried because, and then it sank in all the struggles to then get to that glory. Years before, I should have retired. Every club I went to literally tell me, no chance.
Hello and welcome to Ironcast, and welcome to the Bowling Tavern. Ginge, how good is this?
Yeah, amazing. Fond memories. Bit nostalgic coming back to the area and seeing the old pub. Brilliant.
And talking about fond memories, talking about nostalgia, we're here with the playoff final trophy 2012. And even better than that, the man who delivered it to West Ham fans everywhere, took us on this path to Premier League glory that we've been on ever since. Welcome back to East London. Welcome back to West Ham. Welcome to Ironcast, Ricardo Vaz Te.
Thank you. Cheers.
A modern day hero.
And
modern day West Ham hero.
I know, modern
Getting
day.
us to where we are today, Vaz.
No,
61 games for West Ham in all competitions and 19 goals, but one of those goals is a goal that any West Ham fan who was alive for it will be talking about till their dying day. The last-minute winner against Blackpool in the 2012 Championship playoff final to take us back to the promised land. That celebrations. I was lucky enough to be there at Wembley. I know, Ginge, you're on Matty Everton's stag do. West Ham fans were going insane within Wembley. You've seen the footage of West Ham fans everywhere celebrating that goal. But the way you celebrated that goal, the top came off, the abs, the six-pack. You just look at it.
It's gone. No, I can tell looking at you. It's not gone.
Now. It's gone now.
The mohawk, and you're just screaming. It's such an iconic photo. What better way to start this interview than to ask you, what was it like to score that last-minute winner in a game of that importance?
Obviously, that day for me was the culmination of all the previous, I'll probably say 3 years, or maybe 4, because leaving Bolton was really hard. For the last 3 years of my contract, I was just injured, and then I struggled to get clubs after. So I went to Greece, coming back. To UK was tough. I had to go through Scotland 4 months, and then I had to go to Barnsley, and I had to do a trial, 2 weeks trial, and then finally signed. It was tough as well. So then to get from Barnsley to West Ham, this humongous team, obviously history and all that, and then to get to that moment and be the privileged one to score that goal, it was. Yeah, and people don't know this. And after the game, obviously, while you're in the game, you focus and all that. But after the game, we did you get the trophy, the medal, and all that, and you take a photo. We take a group photo, and after that, I just run to the dressing room, and I just cried because, and then it sank in, like all the struggles to then get to that glory until today. I'm kind of in West Ham world. I'm well known because of that goal. So from losing everything to gaining so much more is
as in you cried because of the journey you had been on. And the magnitude of the occasion.
Because years before I should have retired because my knee was no good, and every club I went to literally tell me no chance. Even at West Ham I had my fair share of injuries, but the staff really managed me well. Rolsey at the time, I don't know if you caught Rolsey. Rolsey at the time, and Taka.
The magician.
The magician, yeah. So they're managing me really well to then provide, to culminate to that moment. Yeah. For me, the goal was special and all that. It was just what it means for me. For me, it meant so much more. It meant I got my life back, and So.
Oh man,
so much more.
What did your teammates say when they came into the dressing room and you're there?
They didn't see me because it took probably another 15, 20 minutes of them doing the lap, celebrating, the fans, the craziness. They didn't see me. I think it was only one person in that dressing room. I didn't really know. I think it's like a security person that makes sure nobody comes in, nobody goes out. And he didn't see me. They just saw me coming in. And I went to obviously I didn't want to cry in front of him. I just went to the bathroom. I just cried there. I just cried there the whole time, yeah. So by the time the boys came in, I think it was 20 minutes, half an hour. Nobody saw me. A lot of time they thought I was arrogant, big time. I didn't celebrate with the boys or something. Yeah, it was just too much, too overwhelming. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
How often do you think about that goal? Once a week?
No, I don't really think very much. I'll be lying to say I do. I don't think of it. I get reminded time to time. And I'm grateful for it. I'm so grateful. And I got to think about that yesterday, going to the game, thinking how a lot of players, they play all their life, all their career, trying to be remembered, trying to be stay iconic, stay relevant. And West Ham does this for me, and I didn't ask. I'm not seeking it. Yet every year they remind even the new generation that what I did so many years ago. So I'm ought to be grateful.
Do you
for
have a
sure.
picture of it in your house?
No, not at all.
Oh,
My wife, when I was living here, she framed the celebration, the vanity celebration, I call it these
Vanity.
days. But I don't know where that picture is, to be honest. I moved obviously from London to Lisbon. She like, where's that picture? I said, I don't know. I have nothing to do with it.
Do you know, when you look back at that, obviously, like you say, it was a very emotional time for you. Do you feel like you missed out on the celebrations a bit? Would you go back and change that? Would you be up with it on the pitch with the boys?
I wish I held it more. I wish I was better prepared so I could contain the emotion. So yeah, of course, to do the lap, like I watch people winning even now, like when they became champions of Europe. So it was nice. You look at the photos, you look at the moments. It's nice. But at that moment, I couldn't hold it. I did the interview with Tomo right after the game. The game finished. We did the interview, and then it was still hectic. So I couldn't really digest anything. So and then we gone up. We got the trophy. We got the medals. It was when we came down. So when we came down, and then he hit me. Boom. So I had to flee. I wish I just cried on the pitch, to be honest. That probably would be better. But yeah, I wish.
Good photos.
Yeah.
I watched the game back recently. Every now and again, it's replayed on Sky, and I watched it back. And in that game, you had a few chances to score.
We did.
You specifically had a
We did.
couple.
I should have. I reckon I counted at least 2 that I would have buried normally. Yeah, but he went inches here, inches there. Yeah, but second half turned completely on us. Yeah, I think we're talking about it today because of the drama that it was. We expect to beat Blackpool easily. I mean, through the season, 4 here, 4 there. There we did it with 10 men. So we got to the final like Blackpool, we're gonna just dismiss them. But as the game went on, the nerves kick in. I mean, the whole stadium was West Ham. So the boots was getting heavier, the sweat was getting heavier. So you can see the players are getting anxious, and then they scored 1-1. The game turned completely. They should have scored a few times in the second half, and so you could see the tension, and then it culminated to that. I always compare the moments or the emotions to like when City won because it was that year when City first became champion. They were losing, and then they got to draw, and then in the last minute, I was watching that game. I fell off my chair. Even I'm not a City fan, but because of the moment, because of you became an underdog, and then you came back, and then I
think any last goal causes that, don't they? But to do it in a, it's probably the biggest game in football, isn't it? They say, for financially and what it means to football clubs coming up from the Championship, to score a last minute winner in a game like that. It's unreal. Yeah. If I did it, excuse me, I wouldn't be taking my top off. But don't quite look like you, mate.
We're going to get into your West Ham career, Ricardo, but just as we were sitting down,
okay,
you mentioned that you and Ginge once got in a bit of a scrap. What's the story here? To give us your version of events, Ricardo. You go first. You're the guest.
I remember it. Yeah. I do remember it.
Ginge is it's an amazing guy. We always got on and always a role model. But in football, I think this is very common. We get frustrated. It's too many emotion. And in this particular incident, Ginge was frustrated because he wasn't in the starting 11, and he felt justified to be in the starting 11. And I think rightly so, actually. I actually agree with you then. But obviously, we're doing the training. We were separated from the main, the starting 11. So the non-starters has to do a side training to do more, obviously. And Ginge was just acting out.
You acting up?
And,
a little bit.
And I was also upset, not to swear here. I was also acting out, but probably worse than him. And I felt also justified why I wasn't on the starting 11. So through that, I think he had enough of my acting out, and then he came for me. So
Did I come for you?
yeah. But we didn't lock on. We didn't.
I remember it. Vaz is bang on. I think we both probably deserve to be playing. The team maybe did well the week before. It was
you definitely did. I didn't so much, but yeah.
So Sam used to take the starting 11 on a Friday possibly.
Yeah, it was Friday.
To do his shape basically. Is 1 to 11. They run through patterns of play, blah blah blah. So us other boys who weren't in the starting 11 would go over and train with Ian Hendon. I think. On the other
at
pitch.
the time, yeah.
So I think I'm playing. I think I should be playing. Vaz obviously thinks he should be playing, so I was playing up a little bit. Vaz was probably not as bad as me.
Yeah, I was terrible.
We didn't come to blows though. It was only
no. You called me some names, and I called you some names.
Yeah.
You like what, and I think I chicken it out. And like,
I think we had a cuddle or shook hands after, and it was all good. But there's another story about that session. I was angry, and I was trying to kick. It sounds bad saying, but I was sort of like disrupting the session, really, wasn't I? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But I was trying to kick the ball out of play, like pinging it everywhere. But I think it was probably the best trading session of my life. Every time I was trying to kick it out of play, it was going to one of my players. I was like Beckenbauer for that session. It was unreal.
That's what made me look worse because I was doing it and it was actually coming off of that. You're like, what you doing? And all sorts. Yeah.
It's not my proudest moment, I'll be honest. I was just frustrated not to be playing. But I would say about Ricardo, not just because he sat here, but would it be fair to say you probably didn't play as much the second season under Sam? Like, but I would say your training and the way you were in the gym and the way you looked after yourself, I think you'd be up there for me, mate, as in professionalism, the way you handled yourself around the training ground, the way you trained, the way you spoke to people, the way you were around the training ground. It was magnificent to see.
Thank you.
Yeah, so let's talk about when you first joined West Ham, because it's the 11-12 season. You started with Barnsley, as you touched on there. You had a bit of a storied career to get to West Ham, but you started at Bolton for a bit. Would you have crossed paths with Big Sam back then?
Yeah, Sam. I signed for the academy. I went on trial, a day trial. I played a game, and the academy director signed me straight away on 4-year deal. And this for
day's trial.
Yeah.
Blimey, how good were you on that day?
What did you do on that day?
Yeah, basically. Do you want to hear that story?
Yeah.
For me, every story is boring. So that's why I'm like, okay. So basically, I was playing U18 in Portugal for a team down south in Faro called Farense, and I was 15, became 16, and then an agent or a scout saw me, and he put a video. He filmed one game, send it to the main agent that had the relationship with Bolton, and they agreed for me to come on a trial. But it was a 1-day trial, which is just a game. So I arrived, let's say, on a Monday, slept, wake up the next day, showed up at the stadium, put my boots on, which wasn't even mine, it was borrowed, and then turn up at the game and scored an hat-trick. They took me they took me to the hotel, which is the Veer, which was straight upstairs, and they wouldn't let me leave. I had to sign, so they put 4-year deal on in front of me, which I didn't know English, didn't know anything. Yeah. My mother didn't know English, so we signed the 4-year deal, and then I had a week to go back, gather my stuff, which wasn't much, and then report. That's to U19, being 16 at the time, summer, I think 2003. So I arrived with U19. We did the preseason, a lot of running, mamma mia. And then the season started. For the first 3-4 games, I scored 2 goals, 3 goals, 4 goals, 3 goals. So I went straight to the first team. So they put me straight. But at the time, we had a B team as well. But I jumped out, went straight to the first team. So Sam Allardyce was the manager at the time. So he's the one who actually put me in the first team.
Wow.
Yeah, that's true. He was the one. I think if I look back, Sam just mismanaged me. When I look back, he mismanaged me because he didn't understand my emotion. He put psychologists on me and all that. And I normally speak my mind because I come from the streets. You just say it as it is, whatever, and deal with the consequences. He tried to manage me, like putting me on and Like I'll come on one game and the next game he won't put me on. He will leave me in the stand like to teach me something. I just couldn't read between those lines, so I just grew more frustrated. But yeah, Sam Allardyce is the one who put me in the first team. I made my debut 17 at Old Trafford.
Wow,
Yeah, dribbling, Roy Keane, Gabriel Hines, Nutmeg, yeah, all sorts. Yeah, no problem.
So from having a one-day trial,
I had knee back then. My knee was fine.
Your knee was all right.
Yeah. No, it was all Sam. It was all Sam. So I had 4 years with Sam, and then Sam left to Newcastle, and that's when my injuries started. Under Sammy Lee, short-lived.
So what were the natures of those? What was the nature of that injury then? You mentioned your knee a few times. Was there one incident where your knee?
Yeah, it started when I was in Portugal. I literally sat on my right knee and damaged my meniscus. And
just sitting down?
No, we were doing this exercise, basically running, and whenever the coach clapped, silly exercise, we squat down like fully and then go up, jump. So he clapped. As I went to sit down, my left foot went off and I just banged on my right, and my meniscus just snapped a little bit. But I still came back and played the season, no problem. I actually meant to make my debut against Fulham here. So I was in the squad. This is a Friday. We trained Thursday. I was in the squad, still 16 at the time. And then I gone home. My knee went crazy. I report on Friday in the squad. Everybody, my U19 like, oh, because I used to change with the U19. They're like, oh, you in the squad. I didn't see. I don't know. I didn't. You have to see your name
on
in the
paper,
list. Back in the days, that's how it was, right?
Yeah.
The list comes out, you go and check. And they're like, oh, you in the squad? No. I'm like, what squad? I don't speak English, so. And then, no, you first team, all this. And I went in and got the first operation that day. So and then that delayed things. And then I only made my debut. I came on against Middlesbrough away with Bolo Zenden and all these players. And then Boxing Day, I made my full debut at Old Trafford. Yeah, wow. And that's when my injuries started. And then the following year, we went on preseason in Portugal, and then my knee locked. They had to remove like 80% of my meniscus, and then my real problem started. But it was biomechanics. I have a shortage. My right leg is about this much short than my left leg. I didn't know that.
Wow.
Yeah. That's why I had so many injuries with my knee. Yeah.
Wow. God, and so all those injuries before your West Ham career, really, really got going. But it's interesting, when you signed for us in January of 2012, you'd had half a season with Barnsley, and had already scored 10 goals for Barnsley before you came to West Ham. Yeah. So did you feel like you were just in the best form of your life at that point? Was that season the one where it all started to come together?
I don't know about the best form, but I was definitely more mature. Yeah, I was definitely more mature. I've been through so much. I was more grateful, I would say. Probably that. Because I was such a brat. I became a brat later on as well. Kev probably can say that. He knows me. He knows me so long. And Ginge probably saw some.
No, I didn't see it.
He saw some of that as well.
No, not at all.
Yeah. I've been at the dinner table with my headsets on. You know, against Stoke.
You did do a few strange things. I'd say that.
Yeah,
You're still the only person I've seen to do press-ups in the dressing room before a game.
Yeah, that's one.
You used to like that, didn't you?
Yeah.
I'd never seen it.
Yeah.
Press-ups. Yeah. It's like a warm-up in the dressing room.
Just get the
it's
blood
an activation.
Yeah. To be fair, the shape of him.
Well, we've all seen the picture.
That's why you do it, but it was a new one on me, and I don't think I've seen it since.
No, I still teach that. I teach that in some of my boys that it's just activation. So you get the blood pumping, and when you actually go to the gym, you want to get contact. So you're not afraid anymore. I do it more mentally. It triggers things. Yeah, now I forget what I was. So, what you ask me again?
Yeah, like that half a season you had at Barnsley, scoring 10 goals.
Oh, my!
And then you come to West Ham, and then you
said,
score another 10. So it's 20 goals in a season, basically.
Yeah. I was more mature. I had a clear goal in line. I was focused. I was determined to not look back. I knew what happened to me. I knew how unappreciative, how ungrateful, how annoying I was. So I wanted to leave all that behind. I wanted to maximize in this gift that I've been given, which is to play football, because it's a gift, man. So that's what that was.
So is it like the mental side of your game just kind of came together a bit more that year?
Definitely. because all my life until the injuries, the bad ones, which was 8, 19, 20, that stopped me for 3. Before that, things is just easy. Like I mean, I was 12 playing with 18s in the street, like nothing. Because I have older brothers, and I'll just dribble them. They'll kick me, I'll get up. So even when I remember when we came and play here, I was at Barnsley, came and play here. I think it was Kev that told Julian Faubert, because Julian Faubert doesn't know me. He told, you gotta threaten him, because Kev used to do that at Bolton with Nicky Hunt. I don't know if you remember Nicky Hunt, a right back. Yeah. So in training, he would be like, when I get to the first team, like, I'm gonna break your leg. I was like, oh man, you're playing music to my ears. Now I'm gonna dribble you. Do you know what I mean? So the more you threaten me, the better, because in the hood it's like that, like, you know. So everything is just easy. Everything is just okay, just natural. Obviously, going through the injuries, losing it all, being depressed, gambling, owing people money, being broke, you name it, being rejected, all that plays a toll. All that takes a part. It shapes your mind. You cannot not shape your mind. So to get up from that, losing friends or people you think they were your friends, being this, places you used to go that be like open doors now, it's like, who are you? To deal with all that, and then to be able to come and have the opportunity to play again, to be paid.
Do you think the dressing room you went into, Vaz, at that time helped? You know, you had big Kev Nolan. I know you're close to Joey O'Brien. It was a good dressing room, wasn't it?
Yeah, very good. I think dressing room always helps, you know, how they embrace you, basically. If I'm honest, it didn't really matter to me, the dressing room. Like, I didn't sign for West Ham, and I had options then. And I didn't sign for West Ham because it was Sam Allardyce. In fact, I knew what I was walking into. That helped a lot. I didn't sign because I know Kev, I'm cool Kev. I didn't sign because Joey was one of my best mates. Not at all. I signed because it was the right move career-wise. I remember Southampton was fighting as well, and one of their players called me and all that. I chose West Ham, and I had a clear lines. So, and I didn't really socialize much. If you ask Kev, and Kev invited me for like, oh, come on, let's have some, you know, after the game, or in the times we off to have some drinks, nobs, and they would tell you I didn't socialize. But I didn't socialize not because I didn't want to. It's because I was focused. I had a job to do, and I can't slip anymore. I can't, because when I was at Barnsley, I literally train and go home. And when we had a day off, I'll travel to Bolton, because at the time I was dating a girl from Bolton. So the only time I'll go to Bolton was Tuesday after training, and then Wednesday morning I'll travel back. And we're talking an hour or so journey. So I could have literally stayed at Bolton. But no, I lived in Barnsley. They got me a flight in Barnsley next to the stadium. So I literally lived there. And that was my focus. So when I came here, I just kept that structure because I didn't want to disrupt it. And I lost a contract because of that. Because when I came to West Ham was kind of top of the table. So with the bonus and all that. You know, bonus are great, you know, they can almost make you not touch your salary. And then I accept all that. So I stay driven on that. But if you look back, I miss maybe 2-3 weeks with an hamstring. I pulled my hamstring in the game here against Doncaster. I scored one of the fastest goal, and they got disallowed because they called
I remember
foul.
that.
Yeah. So
it should never have been disallowed.
Yeah, because Anyway, so I missed 2 weeks, and in those 2 weeks, West Ham couldn't win. They couldn't get a result, and that affected the table. We dropped from the top positions. So, and then to get back, and then your Reading was flying. Reading come and nicked in. So by this time, we're third. Trying to get to the second. So. And then we found out we're going to playoff. Playoff is the distance between the third and the fourth, the fifth. It was like 10 points.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter anymore. And then we got Cardiff. Cardiff was doing well. So they panic. and they proposed me a new contract because when I came to West Ham, I signed 2 year plus 2.5 plus option, something like that. And they proposed me a new contract. And my answer was, let's not talk about it now because this is during the playoff. And I was getting injected and stuff because my knee was, it was my proper season. The championship is too demanding. So I'm like, let's not talk about it now. After the season, let's talk about it because I don't want to get distracted. We go there. Obviously, we got promoted. That's when my problem with Sam started. We come to preseason, and I sit to talk about, okay, let's... No, you got to prove it. You got to prove you. So, yeah, like you see, you see your face?
Yeah.
That was my face. Like, you're talking about proving, walking into 70-odd thousand and do that. Not only that, that was probably easy. The Wembley was easy. The hardest thing is play here, Upton Park, when things are not going well. That, Ginge, that you know that. That's the hardest thing. So for him to tell me you gotta prove it, it just threw me off. My fight with Sam started there.
Did you? Is that where you fell out? No, I don't want to say fell out, but
no, fell out. But
no.
My misbehave or my arrogance, my anger lit up there because I was expecting somebody that will embrace me because I did that. I could have taken advantage of the club because the club knew I was the main. I was the main guy producing in that squad. West Ham had to go up. They had to go. There was no other choice. Otherwise, everybody would be sacked. Like, literally, the pressure was too high. I remember playing here against who was he against? We played against Reading here. Oh, players didn't want the ball, Ginge. You know when these fans turn on you. Like when we came and played against Barnsley, we played here. Our tactic was, let's keep the score 0-0 for as long as possible because the fans will turn on them. That was our tactic. You see that?
It can be. I mean, that season we got 13 away wins, which is a record for a West Ham season.
That tells you something.
And I was going to ask about that because at Upton Park, I mean, as a fan of course, when there are a lot of time, it puts a lot of pressure on the players.
It's the pressure,
especially in the Championship where you're essentially expected to win.
You're the main contender. Yeah. There you go. So
I'd love that though.
Yeah.
I'd like,
but not everybody does.
Not everyone does. No, exactly. That's what I was going to say. That's why every football is different, I suppose.
And you get booed.
Yeah. But that sort of, I think I played my best games under that when that pressure was on. Yeah. When they were like, say you went, no disrespect, say you went away to someone not so good. I don't think I was quite on it, and I used to make some.
You need that provocation.
I need that fear almost to perform. Yeah, and like you say, not every player.
That's 1%, Ginge. That 1%. Yeah, the year was tough. So I remember saying this to Sam. Okay, I need to look for my future elsewhere. I said this to Sam, and he went and got Jarvis that summer. And Jarvis took because I operate left to in, and Jarvis came and took my position. Then he put Jarvis because Jarvis operates on the left. Doesn't really operate on the right. So and then I have to adapt again all over. So I had to go to the right. And then in January he went and brought Joe Cole. So now I have to fight with Joe Cole. That's how it was the whole time. So, and then the following season, he went and got more players, putting me aside. So he made his position clear, but it was my fault because I locked horns straight away. I shouldn't have done that. That wasn't the right way, but I felt frustrated at the time. I didn't know how to channel it.
Yeah, but you were only backing yourself as a player, though.
I still hold it that I did the right thing because I knew if I involved in that contract talks, I would be disrupted. I knew because I was already under pressure with my knee because I didn't meant to play the playoff. I didn't at all. I didn't. First game, the second game I could have played, and that was fine. But the first game in Cardiff, I didn't train that week with my knee. I couldn't. I was begging for a steroid injection, but they didn't want to give it to me. Rosie was afraid. Everybody was afraid. And I said, I'm not going to play unless I get the steroid. It's the only thing that works. But they wanted to give me the Durolane, the fluid thing. And I can't take because when I take the fluid thing, my knee starts locking. And I said, nah, just give me the steroid. I know myself. Give me the steroid. So I got the steroid. Imagine the game is like, let's say a Saturday. So I got the steroid on a Wednesday. And I only trained on a Friday before the game. And that was in Cardiff. And then to turn up at the game. And the 2 goals of Jack Collison came from me. So do you know what I mean? So and then by the time we came here, I was in full flow because the injection, because you played a week later, the injection takes form already, and I was in full flow. And obviously we demolished them. We killed them here. So so things like this. So I had all this pressure because the club is telling me, oh, you got to play. No, I can't. I'm struggling. Please give me something. So and then to think about contract, like, let's just get through this and then we can talk about it. But once we got promoted, everybody's a Premier League star now. I meant nothing. Let's postpone your talk. And that's how they treat me. So that's why I acted out. And eventually I came around. Eventually I was like, you know what? Head down. I'm okay. I'm going to show this guy again.
To speak to Joey?
No. In moments like this, nobody knows this story.
No, yeah.
Only my agent knows this story, and my wife, and people that
Close.
And then we started the season. The best starter at that time. Look, obviously now West Ham is in a different panorama altogether, but that was one of the best West Ham start that season.
Did sign me that year. To be fair.
True. We wouldn't sign you if we didn't get on Prem, innit?
All these Premier League superstars.
I got a lot to thank you for.
And then we went to get Ginge.
He gets a nice new contract.
Yeah, we got all sorts.
Yeah,
but
we got a few.
I was coming up with assist. I don't know if you remember this. We went to. It was my birthday. We went to QPR.
What was the score?
Yeah, we went to QPR. We won. We won 2-1. I scored, and
did I give a penalty away?
No. Starab scored. Coming from the thing, he came from the bench, cut it in, bang. Yeah. They had Julius Caesar in goal, defended like crazy. So we went to QPR. We won. Following game, Arsenal at home, and that's where I dislocated my shoulder.
Shoulder injury, of course.
Yeah. And then all over again. So I was just, and I was operating from the right. So I need to find a way to have goals also from the right, because I only had goals from the left, coming in from the left and shooting. Now I couldn't come and shoot with my left. So I had to find a way. And then I was just finding that way. And then I got the injury, 3 months out and so forth. So, yeah. So it's a lot of things that condition your day-to-day, your career in general. Yeah.
This is fascinating, like all the things that go on behind the scenes that as a fan you don't really think about, and it's so much of your story hasn't been heard. I wondered, what do you make of West Ham now? Like, we've just won a European trophy, first trophy in 43 years. I mean, with all due respect to the playoff trophy behind. But I mean, you must still feel a lot of pride about what you achieved at West Ham, because who's to say if we win that trophy in Prague without what you did in that playoff final? Now, do you still feel like that?
Not only me, I think everybody that is part of history. Like, for example, Ginge, you came, like West Ham, how is West Ham known? For example, in my time, obviously, through the ages, through maybe 20, 30 years, West Ham is this iconic club. But my time in England, West Ham is a yo-yo club. That's what I used to call it, because they're up, they're down, they're up, they're down, they're up, they're down. So to actually establish, it was through those years. Right? So if they didn't take part in that, if you don't establish that, you can never reach anywhere. You can never win. You can never be in the European stage. So you need stability. And people took part of those stability. Of course they're important. You can never get to B if you don't go through A. So people, even to be in where they are today, in the magnitude that they are today, the players they can afford today, something has to be done. A foundation has to be laid before. To say the foundation is not important, you got to be pretty crazy.
Do you still bump into West Ham fans? They still come up to you?
If they see me, it's hard to catch me though.
Just like
just disappeared. Back to Portugal, disappeared.
I mean, I don't have Instagram. I don't have Twitter. I don't have any of that. So if you see me, I'm here today. We talk. I'm very talkative. I like relationship. But if you don't see me, you don't see me.
How does it feel to be back in East London, like here, just round the corner from Upton Park? I guess the last time you were here, you were probably playing for West Ham.
Yeah, I saw the buildings in it.
Yeah.
It felt weird, but I'm happy in a sense. I was commenting with one of the boys yesterday. It's hard to move home, because for the fans, this is home. This was home, and a home that they were happy in. It's not, if you're not happy, you can move, but when you are happy, to move home is hard. So I think it took like 2-3 years to settle at the Olympic Park, and now they settle, and it was nice to see, and I'm happy. I think now they can grow to the level that actually I think West Ham should be at. From the moment I walked through to the club, even when we got promoted, I've done so many interviews, and my main, normally I always said West Ham is a top 10 club. It's a top 10 club. Don't mistake it. For the magnitude of the club, forget about it. They need to be higher there. I wasn't going to be there, say top 4, and even now I have to be a bit cautious about it. But I think
you can say top 4 now.
Yeah.
I think he has potential to be. Why Chelsea? Why not West Ham?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Why
totally.
Arsenal? Why not West Ham?
I think that's, you talk about the move and that, obviously it's been spoken about a lot. I think for the site, like as Vaz has mentioned, we saw it as soon as you come to West Ham, the size of the club. Are you, I don't want to say surprised by how big it's got, because like you said, you could see it, but it has been quite rapid, as in the success not long after me and you were playing, I suppose.
Yeah.
And are you surprised by that, or did you see it coming?
I wasn't surprised per se, because when I was here, that was always my statement. I remember doing an interview with Gaffa, and they were talking, and what you gonna do this year? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I can only vouch for me. I can tell you, West Ham is a top 10. West Ham is the top 10. Forget this relegation. And also that's the mindset, because West Ham been up and down so much, they think, we're gonna fight relegation. Of course, some years it's tough or whatever. But for me, West Ham is a solid top 10. Solid top 10. And then once you establish that, you can move maybe a solid top 6. Once you establish that, you're top 4. And then, but because now, if you make a good buy, you have the right coach, you made a good buy, Brighton challenge things. Aston Villa, a second. I know Aston Villa has history, of course. But they're second right now. What stops them from staying there? Newcastle United. Okay, I know Newcastle had a story, but not in recent years. But now, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you have this structure, everybody has money. This is one particular thing about Premier League. Anybody can spend. If you spend right, why not? Yeah. And West Ham has the backing. West Ham backs any stadium. You can put 100,000, make a stadium of 100,000 fans. They'll pack it every game. So they have the capacity. Yeah.
Who's your favorite players? Who's the players you like to watch in the current squad? Someone you see a little bit of your game in, maybe?
Yeah, obviously you gotta look at your wingers. I like Bowen a lot. His movements, he's straightforward, he's dynamic. Obviously, Kudus come in. Is you gotta. I like Benrahma, man. I like the flair.
I was going to say Benrahma, cutting in and letting loose a shot.
You like I like the flair. I like the flair. But if I'm honest, though, I think the midfielders they hold that team. Their role is important. The way the manager plays. I look at the midfielders. Obviously, I look at the attackers, the breaking forward, the counter-attacking. They're crazy. But I look at the midfielder. I look like a Suchek. His name is that how you call it?
Yeah, Suchek. Yeah.
I think it's amazing. So obviously the whole thing. But if you naturally you look at the forwards because they're the ones who score and so forth. But I now my mind off the field is I look at the key players, the one that hold things, although they're maybe not in the limelight, like your Makaleles at the time. But I can appreciate these players more now.
You're talking like a coach, mate.
Yeah, I was going to say, I overheard you earlier. Are you doing your coaching badges?
I did my UEFA B. I probably would like to do my A just for the knowledge of it. I don't want to be a coach. If I ever was a coach, I don't even think I would be the main guy. I think I'll be a good assistant. Because I can never be like put up a front like the distant. I like to bond, so I think I could be a good assistant, but that's not the road that I'm taking. I'm taking more the agency role.
Yeah.
So because I like relationship, I like to affect a player on a deeper level, on a one-to-one, on shape their thinking, shape their vision. So yeah, and you can't really do that as a coach. So you can't go to their houses, they come to your house, and you can have a meal. You can, you can't bond like that. One, because they're too many. You have to think about the tactic, each individual, how to better them, and there's too much work for you. And then you have a family, and then but now I just have my family, obviously, and then I have these players to look after, and I'm focusing on young players.
Amazing. Great to hear from you. I think if you have a look over the last decade, all West Ham have achieved, and we've talked about the great squad we've got now, you can trace a line right back to that moment you scored the winner in the playoff final and put us back into the Premier League, where we've been ever since. So for that, Ricardo, and for the time you've spent with us, thank you. I'm sure on behalf of all West Ham fans, you will always be welcome at London Stadium. And what you achieved for us, I think, will live forever. Anyone who was there, who witnessed it, who experienced it, will never forget it. So Ricardo Vaz Te, welcome back to East London. Hope to see you again soon. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for listening here on Ironcast. Until next time, come on you Irons.